Welcome, everyone. This is Pine Needles, and you're listening to LOTRO Players News, where we take a look at lasers in LOTRO and hear LOTRO players. And this week we have with us Sanswinda
Hello.
and Krister.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. Let us head and see what's happened in the news this week, where we had another patch. That's right, we have update 33.0.2, which was released on May 4th, 2022. And in this, we had a number of updates on quest instances and adventure areas, where in White, in the Mornshaw's Rituals of the Forest, oaken limbs no longer spawn beneath the ground.
Nice.
All right. Don't they have a name for limbs that are beneath the ground?
I want to say it's called. It used to be what carousel meant, but maybe that's wrong. Is the answer roots by any chance?
Yes, okay, yes, that's the name. Yes, okay. And yes. And in the Gloom Glens, for scouring the wood, the Shrine of the Ook has been restored to its proper location, and several patrol point locations will now update the quest properly. And in the Den of Puchlach, damage over time skills in the Den of Puchlach have had their potency reduced.
I'm hoping this is like damage over time skills done to you in the Den of Puchlach, not like all the damage over time skills you do. But it's not exactly clear here.
Well, I strongly doubt it would be yours, because instances usually don't directly affect your abilities, but they would affect, they might give a debuff to you or something like this, but that would be different than
Totally fair. I'm just
affecting you directly.
Just reading that and thinking out loud. Sorry, fine.
All right. I guess I'm going to have to try the instance and find out. Also, many damage over time effects in the Den of Puchlach now have lower caps, especially if they are curable by potions, salves, and skills.
Which
And
does go to your point. It's probably something done to you.
Right, yes. Monsters should no longer fall out of the world and block the instance during the hallucination sequences. Thank you!
Yay!
Hallucination sub-bosses have had their stat scaling reduced. This will result in lower health, damage, and defense/mitigations.
Yay!
All right. I don't think that was all that necessary in the solo version, but I suspect in the 3-player version there are a couple of points in there where I think that would be very welcome.
Yeah, it might help people be convinced to run it with me again.
And corrected an issue in the Drowned Tavern hallucination involving Puchlach on Tier 3+. Removed exceedingly potent foggy, soaking wet, and gloom skills from thunderstorms. Removed exceedingly potent thrash skills from mine crawlers. And the aura shimmer has been changed to a corruption and is now dispellable. I guess by the usual corruption removal skills. Fortified carapace has been changed to a corruption and is now thus dispellable. Hypnotic gaze should no target the highest threat. I guess that's because the hypnotic gaze affecting the tank could be a real pain.
I would agree with that.
Yes. Sounds of the Deep, an area effect days, has been removed. Pinched has been changed to a wound and is now thus curable. Corgis movement speed has been increased by 25%. I don't know what his movement speed was before. Removed hypnotic gaze skill used by deep toads. Thank you. Removed a dazed component of minor tongue whip skill used by deep toads. And removed laceration skills from non-boss Ukrash. And thank you.
Yay!
Yeah, Ukrash and their laceration skills are And also, in Assault on Thurstruck, fixed an issue where one of the Goth and Strom's mechanics was not properly activating in tiers 4 and 5. Choking Mildew now has a cap of 1. I guess that means that when there are lots of goblins are throwing books at you, you're not going to be suddenly with 5 or 6 instances of it on you. That would be good. Shadow Hurl now deals less damage and cannot deal a critical hit. 1,000 Cuts now moves 25% slower and deals slightly less damage. Thank you. And Shockmuse's damage has been reduced. Oh, Shockmuse's damage. See, Shockmuse, is that the bat boss? I would guess so. And over in Yondershire, the quest guide has been updated for Gamage Game Hunter in Yondershire to make it easier to find sickleflies. Fix some missing map notes in Yondershire. Patrolling the Yondershire wall, detection radius increased so that mounted players are able to advance the quest. Added Yondershire locations to the Stable Master's collection. And fix some jagged riverbanks and floating resource nodes. And also in Akzat Zahar, the Houses of Rest, the health of bosses in the House of Rest has been lowered, and the non-health stat of bosses in the Houses of Rest have been improved. Corrected functionality of several zone denial damage over time hotspots in the Houses of Rest. Corrected a few monsters in Solo Duo to have their proper lower stats. And as for the first boss, the Risen Lords, Poison Splash is now used much more frequently and persists for a longer duration. Oh, fun. Lowered the potency of many of the damage over time effects in this encounter. Lowered the damage of skills that target non-tank players. Stinging poison, biting wound, and diseased breath are now curable. Thank you. And skills have had their cooldowns adjusted. As for Loknashra, Darkheart is now used much more frequently and persists for a longer duration. Blizzard now properly scales its damage by tier, with tier 3 being the final increase. And skills have had their cooldowns adjusted and fixing the scaling of the dwarf white monsters involved in this encounter. And finally, for Vithug, Shadow Ball is now used much more frequently, persists for a longer duration, and no longer applies a damage over time effect in addition to its zone denial volume. Morgul Cleave no longer has an induction and has a longer cooldown, and skills have had their cooldowns adjusted. So, quite a number of changes over there. And as for Miscellaneous Legendary World of Valnor, the Ettenmoors are once again properly closed, as PvP should not be available below the live level cap.
Oh.
And the legendary item maximum item level has been increased to 449, and you can speak with any Forge Master to increase. Train issues in Breeland homesteads have been resolved. Train issues in the Gloomglens have been resolved. Corrected typos in French and German. Tome of the Chestnut Corgi has been corrected to bind on acquire since it is granted as a gift to every character on an account. And also, certain dwarf structures at the gates of Gunabad and Hathodiant should no longer assume the appearance of other dwarf structures. And improvements have been made to the algorithm that checks whether opening a lockbox might exceed the cap for a given currency. Thank you. Because, yes, it would be nice to give a warning if you're about to go over the cap or something like that.
I completely agree with that, because no better feeling than opening up 5 boxes and realize you reached the cap box one, and
yeah.
Yep.
Like, that's never happened or anything. Let us then head on to a note that the Fetaguna bod and the Brawler are now available for LOTRO points.
Yay!
Don't you already have it? Oh,
Yes,
but you
but I
have
have
2
friends
accounts.
and I have friends I play with who refuse to buy it until it's available in the store. So,
Okay. Very well. Then let us head into the store sales. Christopher, what's on sale this week?
well, this is your final week for double bonus points, so this would be a good time to get some. Get twice the bonus points in the LOTRO store through May 8th. So that is over tomorrow. You can forge your own ring, of course, get 20% off crafting guild access, ingredients packs, crafting accelerators, rapid craft, crafting tiers, and recipe books, and that's through May 12th. And then the weekly coupon is for a universal ingredient pack times 10. Coupon code is Stack Off Pack. Oh, no, Stack of Pack. Sorry about that. STACKOFPACK. And that is also through the 12th.
All right, thank you. Then let's head into site news where we have posted an interview with the LOTRO producer, Reninia, and this is an interview that we had a few weeks back. In fact, I think we had this on the day the servers died. So that was a real thrill to have an interview then. And and we have in here, in addition to a YouTube version and our podcast version, in the show notes, we include a timestamp to each of the questions that were asked during the course of the interview. So you can check over in our show notes. We have a link to that. And that is it for our site news this week. So let us head into our week in gaming. And Krister, what were you up to?
Well, we continued our assault on the Hidden Horde Friday night, and what's been really, really, really super nice about the last few weeks is that the raid itself has been coming together well before time. So usually by the time we're hitting our actual launch time, we actually have the raid fully. At least everybody's in the raid, so we've been able to get a full raid together every time, which has been great. So that being said, T2 still is remaining elusive, but we got some good information last night because we have some other allies of ours on other servers who are one in particular. She does a lot of high level rating on another server, and so they've been tackling Hidden Horde at like T3, and they've been giving us some advice, and we got some good advice on our positioning last night. So even though we got crushed, the positioning that we got, we feel very good about. That's the positioning that we need going forward. So really what it's boiling down to for us is that in T2, we just need to be able to do more DPS. I think that's really where it's standing right now. The DPS is our main thing. Other than that, I feel everybody's kind of getting the groove of it. The majority of people here have been grouping for this over and over again, week after week. So we're starting to feel that cohesiveness. At least, we don't have to give too many instructions. So it's been even though it's frustrating not to be able to get past those first boss the first boss encounter. We've been learning something every single time we're doing it. So I'm confident it's going to be just a matter of time before we get past that first one. Yes. And then I feel like it's going to be easier, quote unquote, easier after that. I feel like we'll be able to accomplish the rest of it, but we'll see.
Okay. Yeah, you said the majority of them are on the regular. Then you have people like Cord and I who were.
Well, yeah, and then but that's part of the intrinsic nature of our group, anyways. Right. Is that we're not hardcore readers, so we're not going to say, "Oh, you can't come because we need this or we need that." We'll take a group, and what we get, we'll work with it. So we understand that naturally makes it a little more difficult to accomplish our goals too.
Somehow, I don't think they would have been happy if I brought my brawler instead of my minstrel.
Well, yeah, you're right. Well, and I'm glad you were able to as well. Because and now we're talking about doing the positioning we did last night, but doing 3 healers and seeing if that might be the key. Because what was really nice about it was the way that we positioned was Iggy, our primary tank, would take the 2 melee guys, and I just figured out that if I just basically walk past them so my back is facing their backs, and then I'm not getting caught in their frontals. So then I'm not taking as much damage. I'm easier to heal, or I'm easier to have you guys. Of course, you can tell me too, Pine, because you were the one that was healing me. I think at the end that when I was moving forward, I became less of a problematic healing thing, or as somebody that you'd have to pay a lot of attention to. But I think we'll just figure that out more next week, because we've got the positioning down now. Now we'll see if we throw other healer in the mix, if we can have victory. So I'm confident, even though we get frustrated by doing the T2, but that's exactly why we rolled to the T1 as well. So so we went to the T1. The T1 went very smoothly, and we got that done. So and then, of course, in ESO, my Exploding Orc continues to accumulate power. It's just what is that quote? It's that absolute power corrupts absolutely. He is absolutely all powerful. It's been funny. I've been out in these group areas, and he explodes so much that other players will bring big groups over to him because I'll just drop my lightning everywhere and explode. It's glorious. So it's
and this character setup that you have on this one was an accident, wasn't it?
Well, it was everything about this character was an accident, because when I first created him, I skipped character creation. I didn't realize I did. And so I had this short, little, tiny, scrawny little orc. And that's not the characters I play. I play big, gigantic, dumb idiots, that's my mode of operation, So, and he was a sorcerer. And so I was like, by default, I would have never picked that. But that's what was glorious about ESO in general, is the flexibility of this game. I started non-beginner areas. I had a non-linear adventure with this character, and it was wonderful. And I couldn't have done it in other games. And so then the lightning turned out to be perfect. And I got these armor sets. Both of them are shock-based. And then, of course, I get an increase in shock damage. And they both have AoE blasts. One AoE blast, every opponent it hits, it heals me. The other one is just a straight damage one. And so the more people around me, the safer I am, which is crazy. And now I've gotten enough champion points to build out. You have these trait trees where if you kill somebody, you can get stamina, and I think you can get all 3: stamina, health, and magic back. But I've got it so it's giving me 900 stealth and 900 magic every time I kill somebody. So if I have these large clusters of people around me, and then 4 of them drop all of a sudden, I'm flush with power again, so it basically feeds upon itself. And the combat is visceral, and I really enjoy it. I think ESO is just a visceral. It's very fun. It's fast paced. It's definitely a different experience than LOTRO. And then also this week I don't know why, I just had a zombie theme. So I got 2 new games. I got this game Dying Light, which was released years ago. But they just had released a new version, and I wanted to check out the original, and that's a lot of fun. It's kind of this open world survival crafting game, and it's got really nice graphics as well. And then this other one I picked up is Project Zomboid, and it's a zombie survival game, but the whole point is you're not surviving. Literally, the game begins with "This is the apocalypse. This is how you died," and that's how your game begins. But it's fascinating because you feel the constant pressure of the fact that these zombies are always coming, and eventually you're going to get overwhelmed and destroyed. So it's just kind of an interesting experience. You don't get really attached to your characters in this game. So and so that was my week. So Sans, what were you up to?
Well, I started off the week, at least I think it was this last week, setting off lots of fireworks during Girls and becoming a firecracker. And doing a little bit of deeding for steel tokens, which was fun. and did several days worth of work in Yondershire, Tuesday nights, helping hobbits who were like, oh yeah, like, I can help you, but like, first you should do all my chores for the day. And then I learned to fly in Final Fantasy XIV, and am really excited
Hooray!
about that. So, that was pretty much my week. How was your week, Pineleaf?
All right. Over on Honor, my warden there raided Barad-dûr 3,000 years ago. Okay. My 3,000 year ago echo of a warden raided Barad-dûr. And in DDO, my Tabaxi finished defending the keep on the Borderlands. So I finished up the keep of the Borderlands and reached level 3. So I'm about to get to the point where my character is getting ready to the point where I'll be allowed to use daggers. And I want to be able to use daggers without losing centering on my monk in there because I'm a dagger-based monk. But I really can't be a dagger-based monk until I get just one more trait point so I could get the trait that I need so that I can do it without major penalties. So that will be coming up soon. And in ESO, I managed to finally solo an anchor. I'm pretty sure that Krister has done that 100 times already. Actually, the biggest thing for the last couple of weeks, I've been pretty sure that I was ready to solo an anchor, considering that anchors scale by the number of people that are there. So since they scale by the number of people there, obviously it's not going to be as tough when there's only one person there as it would be if there are 12 people there, for example.
Yeah, honestly, I would have thought. I honestly, I bet you could have done solo anchor earlier in your career.
Yeah,
too, you know?
I'm pretty sure that a year ago, I don't think I would have been able to do that. But the last couple of weeks, I think the only thing that was preventing me from doing it was that whenever I was at an anchor, there was already somebody else there. And that was a tricky thing. So it's coming up to an anchor that's all ready to get started and having nobody else run towards it as soon as they hear that anchor drop. Because, when I hear the sound of an anchor, I go running in that direction, right? And I'm sure a lot of people do, obviously.
I've had that happen a couple times where I see a dragon is being engaged in combat and elsewhere, and I'll run over there, and then I just start to see the dragon. The dragon looks like they're fighting, so of course I charge in there. And when I charge in there, I realize there's only one other guy there. There's like 30 people waiting, and so me and the guy get instantly stomped by the dragon. So I learned that you just cautiously approach a dragon and observe the
cautiously. What? Oh, two people attacked the dragon by...
Yeah, because in the distance, I thought it was a full attack on it because it was engaged in combat. I could see it, spinning around and doing stuff. And so I charged right in there, and then of course, the environment became clear to me that it was just me and one other guy.
Why would there be only you and one other?
Well, because maybe this person thought he was brave and strong, and he said, "I'm going to attack this dragon because all these other people are hanging out here, and if I start attacking it, they'll join me." Well, they didn't. Except for me, I joined it.
Okay, I wonder why they didn't join in.
I've seen that before. I just see people. They might be waiting for the group to show up because oftentimes they have. I see them elsewhere. They have a. Well, maybe not elsewhere so much, but like in Alkir, they'll have those Harrowstorm groups running all the time.
Right.
So I get a feeling that maybe people are waiting for the other group to show up before they're going to fight the dragon.
Okay. Well, I'm pretty sure that in Alkir, people don't. It's stranger because, of course, I was also doing some cleanup questing, things like trying to clean up some loose ends in Alkir during the week. And of course, whenever an anchor drops in Alkir, an anchor is about to drop in Alkir without looking at the map because you suddenly see all these people spawn in and running towards this thing. And about 30 seconds later, you hear, boom.
Yeah, that's funny because I agree with you because I got to the point where when I was wandering around the desert there, if I ever saw a river of people going anywhere, I just got on my mount and followed them. I was like, something's going on, and sure enough, it was an anchor.
And what happens is that whenever they finish the anchor, I notice that in my chat, someone who must be the group leader types in a letter of the alphabet. And I could just say that whatever this group is, they must know which letter goes with which anchor. And then I've come to the conclusion that this must be the next anchor that's on their let's run to list. So that's sort of like the strange thing that you have going on in there. But that's how things work in it. And then, ironically, the place where I managed to solo the anchor was actually in Bankarai, in the southern parts of it, which is in many ways an extension of Alakir because it's part of the same biome. And
Yeah, that's true. But the Alakir always seems very busy to me. There always seems to be a lot of people there.
Yes, Alakir. I don't think I've ever been to Alakir when it was not being farmed for its anchors. Now, in addition to that, I was also working on achievements on my character during the week, trying to round out some of the achievements that I have on my character. Thus, I said, "Oh, look at this! I have a couple of non-main storyline quests for this area that I still need to do, so I might as well go and pick those up and help to close out those quests, and trying to remove all those and see how many of the achievements I can complete. And at the same time, my biggest thing was seeing how much I could declutter my bags.
Good luck with that. What'd you get down to? Did you free up, like, let me guess, 12 inventory slots?
Well, I currently am. Oh, and while I'm doing this, I also had another achievement that I wanted to do at the same time, which conflicted with that thing, and that is I wanted to do the achievement where you are wearing everything is at blue level. Now, when you consider that I had one blue piece of armor, I had purple for all the rest of my armor. And my weapons are gold, so you can see that I had to collect all of these blue items so I would have a full set of blue items so I could switch to them because I couldn't go and put them on permanently for questing because I already had better equipment. But I had to essentially temporarily downgrade all of my equipment except for the jewelry because my jewelry is getting the stuff to upgrade my jewelry is the toughest one
I
that's in
agree.
this game.
I agree. That has
I,
been the biggest pain for me, or the biggest weak point in my upgrades, I would say,
yes,
is the
yes.
jewelry.
So it is the jewelry because my jewelry, I just can't get my jewelry up because I just don't get the things that help you to upgrade your jewelry on it as much as I do for everything else. But everything else seems to be doing fine on that. And now I am working towards the one to have everything purple, but that one's going to be a lot easier from the point of view of my inventory because I'm already wearing armor that's purple, so that's not going to be a problem on that score. And in
So
fact,
is it just that you have to have it all blue at one point and you get the achievement, or do you have to wear it around or do stuff for a while?
no, all you have to do is at one point have everything has to be blue at one point. That means
Okay.
all of your armor, all of the current weapon that you are carrying, and probably either a two-handed weapon or two one-handed weapons or a weapon and a shield. But anyway, all that has plus all your jewelry has to be that color. And there's an achievement for that for blue, and there's one for purple. I have not seen one for gold. I didn't see a gold version of that anywhere around. But I did get an achievement which required you to wear a gold piece of equipment that had a gold enchantment on it. So since I noticed I had not done that yet, I had to assume then that my current enchantments that I had were not gold. So what I did is I created an enchantment for my sword, a gold enchantment for my sword, put it onto my sword right after I upgraded my sword to gold, and then boom, I got that achievement. But after that, I was able to get rid of a lot of junk from my inventory, and now I have only 70 spots filled.
Wow. Yeah, that's
And that gives me 130 empty slots.
yeah. I hate inventory. I think
Yes.
it's
Yeah.
I'm just a pack rat by nature, so
Right. So I'm going to see if I can get that a little bit lower before the release of High, before the next High Isle,
actually,
High Rock, whatever it's called.
and thinking about it too, Pine, because you've played LOTRO for a long time. What's so funny is creating a new character in Lord of the Rings after playing for so long is that you get so much stuff up front in your inventory that you could literally fill your inventory just by opening all those boxes and chests.
Yes. And in fact, it's gotten so bad in DDO that they now have you talk to an NPC to pick up some items. Especially the one that in LOTRO, the thing that only goes to one character, when you have something like that. Anything like that in DDO is now, oh, talk to this character, and and they'll give it to you because they want to make sure, all right, fine. You're,
Yeah, I can see that. It's almost like an extra validation step. Are you sure you want this character to?
well,
This is the character you want this on?
actually, I have a feeling that in the Isle of Dread, they might even have you do that for the regular items that everyone gets, simply because inventory is such a mess in DDO. I mean, literally, it's you start out with, oh, what is the inventory is it 45 or 60? Anyway, it's pretty poor, and your bank isn't much larger than that either. So in LOTRO, you have a luxury of space compared to DDO.
I was just about to ask if you could upgrade that, but it doesn't sound like you can upgrade it to the
Well,
same
there
degree.
is a way. There are ways to upgrade in game, and I think there's a quest that you do at some point. Oh, that's right. I think you had to get rep with someone in order to get a bag of holding, and that bag of holding then can add another bag for you. It might be possible to get some extra bag space from the store. The question, I think that's per character though. And now the one that you get from in game from rep, I think that only carries on for your current lifetime. So if you res, I think you lose that one. I think if you get one at the store, I think they have to let you keep that one forever. So I think they'll just have to go with that character no matter what your lives you've got. That's the complicated thing about DDO is that you've got resurrections that you can have.
Good old resurrections.
Yeah, just to make things more crazy. And that concludes my week in gaming. We currently have 14 supporters on Patreon. If you'd like to join this illustrious raid of players and help support LOTRO players, you can go to the Nations page. You can support the Players Alliance on Patreon. Your money will be used for our podcast hosting, website hosting, and to pay for our live shows. And we have no emails this week. We feel like since when you can send it to podcast at LOTROplayers.com. You can also follow us at Twitter, the Players Alliance at Players Alliance, LOTROplayers at LOTROplayers, Arendis at Arendis, Ponifit, Ponif Needles, Sanswinda at Sanswinda, Terry Edwin at Terry Edwin, Guarendis at Guarendis, Calabathian at Calabathian, and Krister is floating in space fighting zombies.
And I just had dinner too, so that.
That's not good. The Players Alliance has two shows on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. We have DDO Players News, and on Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. We have LOTRO Players News. You can join us for our shows at LOTROplayers.com/live. And that's all for tonight. And this is Ponty Needles reminding you to skirmish responsibly.